Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Family Ties podcast called Family Time, sponsored by Rogue Energy. My very first guest on the first ever podcast is fellow Family Ties member Raven, or FT. What's your name?
Milk.
Milk. Yeah.
Milk.
Milk. Yeah. FT Milk. We'll go with that. So there's a couple things that I want to say based off what we were just talking about before. We're going to do a few different segments on this show. One segment is going to be called This or That I'm going to bring up. And I'm going to name something, and you got to try to match it or outdo me, okay?
Okay.
That's how that's going to go. I'm also going to put in a word from our sponsor at some point. And I have a couple topics I want to talk with you about today.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay. The very first topic, do you believe in ghosts?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm very half and half
Okay.
on it.
Okay. So what do you mean by half and half?
Um, okay. So what I mean is, obviously, growing up with um religion being a big part in my life. Obviously I know that there's uh other things at play that aren't as it seems. However, I am a believer of the more you open your mind to something, the more like power you give into it or the ideal of it.
Okay, so like you think that if you're trying to find stuff, your mind's gonna make up stuff,
Yeah, if you go looking for something, you will find something.
but if you don't go looking, you probably won't.
Exactly. If you don't acknowledge it,
Do you have any encounters or experiences that stick out to you?
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, actually, it's pretty crazy. I was actually talking to somebody about this. Um, I've actually had some pretty crazy dreams. Actually, I started keeping a log. Um, they're exactly 3 years apart in an interval of three different times.
Okay.
So this is over a huge span. It actually takes place in my basement.
Oh, so
Yeah.
these dreams are in your basement?
Yes, every single time. I've logged them throughout the years, and of course, in Apple Notes, when you start typing something, it'll do a word search, and usually when I wake up, I will forget I'm in that word search instead of writing a new note, and that's when I realized I've written relatively the same dream actually before.
Okay. So I will say from my experience, like I have had reoccurring dreams before. Like to the point where it's like I know exactly what's gonna happen in this dream because I remember it happening. Like
So does it play out exactly the same, or is it just key points that are the
key
same?
points are the exact same. So like
So the lead up is a little different, but the main points are are the same, kind
yeah,
of like canon events in
yeah,
the stream.
yeah. So like, and a lot of them are that are reoccurring are bad.
Mm,
To where it's like wake me up out of my sleep. I'm like scared bad.
yeah, like a cold sweat.
Yeah, I would almost say something similar to that, but it's like I don't know a good way to explain it because it's like no way people believe
Yeah,
what you say. It's all word of mouth, and it's like I believe that that's a lot of stuff for ghosts too, because it's like some people's experience they are very like heartfelt, like they believe in
right,
that stuff. Like I love like Sam and Colby videos on YouTube. I know
right.
that you just started watching some of those with me too, and it's like that would be like a dream thing for me, like go somewhere with them
Mm,
because like that would be really cool. It's not that I'm like so skeptic. It's more of like I almost want to believe that there's something because I don't want to believe that like there's just nothing that happens to you after you pass, you know? And it's
yeah,
like where you could still like belong somewhere, which is
yeah,
like I don't know, it's kind of stupid, but just how I think about it. And it's like these dreams, like Okay, have you ever heard of like how do people explain deja vu?
Yeah.
It's like how is that a real thing? Do you feel like you've been somewhere that you've never been?
Right.
So like, okay, they might call me crazy, like the people who say this, but like I put it
Right.
on everything. When I was saying like these encounters and stuff that like people believe, I've had like certain parts in my dream that I feel like happen in the future.
Mm.
So like,
Kind of like a premonition.
yeah, and that kind of stuff I can't explain. And like, I'm not saying it's like a medium or anything like this. I mean, like, okay, I'll give you an example of one. Like, when I was in like sixth or seventh grade,
Hmm.
I remember my dream was it was like dark, like I couldn't see at all,
Right.
and I kind of felt like I knew where I was. I was on like my school playground, and like it was dark, and I was like holding my face like this, and there was like specific things that were said, like, "Oh, he's gonna be okay," or and someone else was like that said something like, "Oh no, he's actually hurt." Like I remember like that vividly. Just had that dream, whatever. And then like 2 years later, when I was in like eighth grade, I got hit in the face with a ball,
Hmm.
and it felt like, and I went like this, and I heard the exact same things from my dream from before.
So like when it happened, did it feel like it was like, oh, like this is that moment? Kind
Yes,
of like you paused the
yes, yes.
movie and then just did some stuff, came back, and then it's like, bam, right there. Like, oh, this is the
Yeah,
part.
but how do you explain that for it to sound believable? Because it doesn't.
Well, it's all about perspective.
Because like I feel like that's happened to me multiple times, and I don't know. People might agree with me, or they're gonna say no, you're crazy, and I think you're making this up. But like, or I put it in my head, I am definitely not making it up. That's how I feel about it. Like, if it's something that happens. I've heard some people say like deja vu is just something that you've seen like similar. Like it's not
Right.
anything that's exact, but like the premonition stuff, like that stuff like kind of creeps me out because it's like I feel like I've had a couple things that have literally like had a dream or something about it and the exact same thing happened in the future. And almost to the point where like when it was happening, I was like I'm trying to change it just to see if that's like a thing.
And has it? Like, have you like successfully been like, oh, it's going down this path, but now I'm going down this divergent path.
Well, it's not as everything like scary or like bad. That's the thing. It's like it's just like in that exact moment, my body and your mind just like kind of freaks out for a second because it's like, oh
Like
my
you kind
gosh,
of like
this is
get
it. Like
tense.
this
Like,
is that
yeah.
moment that's like that you've been thinking about. So it's like, is it like really happening or is it like I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't know a good way to explain that because it's like people aren't going to believe you, and if you explain that to people, they're going to be like, "I don't think that's ever going to happen. That ever happened because it's never happened to me." And it's like, so that's a part of why I want to believe in like other people's experiences because like some of the experiences I've had, I feel like people wouldn't believe either.
Yeah. I mean, I think it definitely goes down to perspective. Um, I think primarily the reason why I I would say like for the most part in terms of like watching videos very skeptical is because I am very logical.
Hmm.
So, when somebody tells me, they're showing me a ghost video and they're
You're
like,
trying to
"Oh, did
debunk
you
it right
see that
away.
orb?" and this and that, and it's like, no, like the actual light like refracting from,
Yeah,
from dust particles, you're in a
yeah.
dark place, super
Well, that's why
unwell
partly
kept.
I really like Sam and Colby because they bring a lot of skeptics with them and try to change
Right.
their mind, and that would be cool. Like if we could do that.
Yeah.
Not that you're saying like I'm saying you're so skeptic, but like there's like they have said stuff on there where it's like we bring people to stuff where they can't explain it or can't debunk it as
Right.
something, and like I think that that's really cool.
Well, I think that's also where it goes back to perspective. So it heavily depends on the person's perspective. Like you
Yeah,
can be logical, but then you
yeah,
can also be like, we just can't explain that.
yeah,
Like I haven't had experiences like that, but
yeah.
one of my cousins did. The story goes, when my grandma passed, my uncle, who is not with us anymore, but when he was alive, he was grieving, and my my uncle went into her room, right, and um, he was like, I saw her as a ghost, like clear as day, and
That's scary.
she was laughing, and he's like, Mom, is that you? And she just didn't say anything. He said she didn't say anything, just kept laughing, and then just like disappeared after that. And so my uncle told my cousin, like before he passed, and um, my cousin's like very religious, um, kind of like I wouldn't say is like very into like ghosts or anything like that. But she does have like a lot of knowledge
Yeah.
in terms of like religion, and she's like, Dad, I don't think that was her. And she's like, because if that really was her, like if she was like sent down, like she would state her reason of being there,
Oh wow. Okay. So
and that this is like taking a darker turn.
I see where you're going with this, where it was someone
Um,
acting like her.
yeah. Which in my head, hearing this, I'm thinking, um, I believe it's called like a mimic,
Okay.
something that imitates like a loved one or like their voice or something.
That's
And
so scary to think about.
yeah, and I was hearing that, and I'm like I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah, and the thing about it that's so scary is because like first off you're seeing a ghost at that
Yeah,
point, but second off it's like that's supposed to be when like you kind of almost feel good seeing that loved one
yeah,
again,
yeah,
and it's like I don't know how to feel about that to be honest.
yeah,
It is a different type of feeling, I would guess, because it's like
yeah.
what do you trust and what do you not after that. So I kind of want to lean away from the ghost stuff more now, and I want to ask you about like what about like aliens and stuff? Like, do you believe in
Mm,
like okay, so like the main big three I always see people believe in for conspiracy theories: aliens, Bigfoot, and the moon landing. Me personally, I think it all depends on what you define as an alien. Because like I think we've already found like bacteria and other life on other like planets,
right.
but do you believe in like Area 51 hiding like life
Like
size?
conscientious beings,
Yes, yes,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Um, with the moon landing, I'm really not sure.
I think it's real.
I
Personally,
I'm
I
just
think it's
not
real.
sure because on one hand, it's like at that time, like, do I think the technology was capable of such a feat? I do think so, yeah.
Hmm.
But at the same time, somebody can view it as, well, maybe it just didn't happen. And because it was a race at that time, I
Yeah,
think it could have been staged,
yeah.
but I think eventually, like, it was done.
I think it was done, and I think that I've heard. I don't know if this is 100% true or not, but like I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure if you get an expensive enough telescope, you can still see the flag on the moon.
Yeah. And
I've heard
yeah,
that being said.
I've seen like a lot of videos about the flag in particular, like,
Oh, there's no
oh,
wind or
yeah,
and stuff like
there's no
that. Yeah,
wind, there's no like
or the rocks.
ripples, or
Yeah,
like it's very like it almost looks like a
but
piece
there's
of
no wind up
cardboard.
there anyway.
Yeah.
And they also, I'm pretty sure, have like metal stuff in it. I just
Right.
think there's too many people involved that would have aired that one out.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I believe in the moon landing. I know some people really don't.
Hmm.
I believe that it's been kind of a backwards,
Right.
like thought or priority, I would say, since we went to the moon. Because it's like, okay, now like Elon Musk is trying to go to like Mars and
Right.
stuff like that. But like, it's like, okay, we got to the moon. Now we're done.
Right.
Not for like NASA. I mean like top priority space race type things. We were just done.
Yeah.
The scary thing is, why did NASA, who was originally discovering the ocean, stop and decide to go to space instead? Because I'm more scared of the ocean than I am of space.
Right. Yeah.
What do you think? Are you? Because we only know 5% of what
Yeah.
we discovered in the ocean.
Yeah. I actually was gonna bring that up. Yeah, that's kind of what like correlates to do I believe there's like other things out there in space? I definitely think so because of that reason. It's like, hey, like water's already on Earth,
Yeah.
and we've only discovered 5% of it. I
Yeah.
mean, you would think the ocean is like 80%, 90%, a
Just the deep
trench, like
depths not
things
figured
like
out. Yeah. No, we don't
way
know
further
more
deep down.
way
And
majority of
it's
it
like, no, we actually don't. So it's like, you kind of have to take that perspective of like, well, if we can't even do something that
on our own
is
planet. Yeah.
already like, hey, you just take a boat out to the water, you get the right equipment and drop some guys down.
Yeah.
If we can't even do that, think about not only the cost, but like the manpower and the time it
Yeah.
takes to go up. And it's like,
The scary thing for the ocean too is a lot of the fish, like sharks, are millions of years old.
yeah,
So it's like, what else is down there? Because it's like obviously not surface level stuff, but like
right.
something is else is down there,
Yeah.
and it's like it made NASA stop exploring there. Which like
Now,
I'm sure they'll probably have like a legit reason or something, but like I just think it's like you're
well,
leaving to go the complete opposite. You're going from the ocean to space.
Well, I think the crazy part is something that goes along with that is that there's conspiracy, and you can also find like videos of said footage about exploring the ocean and why we like stopped, um, being like I think like a big one was, oh, like megalodons are like still alive. And there's videos debunking that, which I do kind of agree
Yeah,
with, sure the pressure isn't that much of an issue, but in order for a body that
they'd
massive
have
to
to be eating
sustain
something
itself, yeah,
crazy. Yeah,
like it's like, okay, like I really can see that because they wouldn't just adapt like that quick.
yeah. And the thing about it is, I don't think the megalodon was as deep as some people think, since we've recovered teeth and stuff.
Right.
Like we have that stuff, so it's like, yeah, I don't know. The ocean's just scary to me because it's like
Yeah.
once you get below like the light level, like where the sun reaches and everything, it's just like who the hell knows?
Yeah,
Like
the dark
what's down there?
zone.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's and like I don't think I believe in Bigfoot. I think that was a made up
Yeah,
thing.
I think that's something that was just like, hey, like this is a fun story.
Yeah,
And then, the people that were being told were kind
yeah.
of like giving into it a little bit more, and
So
then it became a huge thing.
so my thing is like because you always say you put logic first for like ghosts and stuff
Yeah.
like that, which I understand completely. It's like there's a lot of people who believe in conspiracy theories. What do you think like gets people hooked on conspiracy theories to like where they really believe in this stuff?
I honestly think the number key factors that really like play into it is uh the person's uh openness to
Mm,
suggestion
yeah,
slash like
like change
perspective,
too. Yeah,
and also like logic,
mm,
because if you see something you can't explain,
yeah,
then it's like, oh, like this is fact, this
yeah,
is beyond me. But if it's something like, even if it's made up,
yeah,
and you give enough logic, like quote logic, into it,
yeah,
it's like people are going to believe.
yeah. And the thing is, for me, it's like I almost want to be on that see it to believe it level of stuff
Right.
because like there's no more concrete evidence than you seeing and experiencing something on your own.
Right.
And like that's just something that I don't think Bigfoot or any stuff like that. Like I think that maybe I also think some stuff gets lost in translation
Right.
over time because like we didn't have stuff to explain stuff in the past. So like I don't know how to explain it, but like old writings and stuff where it's like they didn't know about time of days and stuff like that that we
Right.
know now, and the word of mouth stuff getting passed down of this and that.
Yeah, people
We have
adding
an
in their own
explanation
stuff
now
over
of what
time.
it
Yeah.
is, and it's like, how does that? I don't know. I think you're right though about the open mindedness and stuff about what people can see, but like I think logically speaking, a lot of conspiracy theories don't ultimately add up.
Yeah. Yeah, there always seems to be some sort of uh information that either like collides and like contradicts itself, or
Yeah,
it comes to a point where it's like, well, then how do you explain this missing piece? And then
Yeah.
it's kind of left as a like, oh, well, like, we don't know.
Yeah. And it's like for conspiracy theories, I think there would have to be like a big thing of concrete evidence happening. It's
Right.
like we have actual proof of getting a conscientious being or something, and it's like it's not debunked, it's real. People saw it, and it's been recorded. But then again, there's the other side of it that people think like the government hide that stuff,
Right.
and that's just like I don't know. That it gets a little murky there, but I mean, some conspiracy theories I don't believe just because there's more evidence to prove it wrong than right. Like
Right.
the moon landing, I think there's more evidence to prove that it was real than it wasn't.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of like factors that play into it, like specifically the moon landing is one, it was a race. Like it was like, hey, we need to be the first ones
Yeah,
to accomplish this.
yeah,
And it's like, our capability could have been 80%, and we're like, hey, we're not actually ready, but like if we kind of turn the aspect of actually completing the feat
yeah,
versus if we do this right
yeah,
and show people, it's like, oh, they already did it.
yeah,
Like we won. And then
yeah.
I think later on, the truthful part of like actually going up was made possible. But I think it could be. That's why I'm very split on it, because
Depends on
it could
which
be
ones they
one
are
or
too.
the other.
Well, people think for like the moon landing that it was made in a studio in like Hollywood,
Yeah, and
like a movie.
that's kind of what I mean.
But like the thing is for me, like if you can actually see the flag, there's no way it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I think there's way too many people invested into it that
Right.
it would come out as being fake. Because like Neil Armstrong and stuff like before he died and everything, like Buzz Aldrin and them, like they get pissed off if people bring that up to them. I don't know if you ever seen those videos of people trying to go up to the astronauts and telling them it was fake. Like they get mad, and I'm like, that's either because they did all that and they're getting like
Yeah, they're
about it,
basically
or
being
people
told
are kind of like,
liars.
yeah, or people are catching on to them and they're like told not to say anything.
Yeah.
I think
And
that happened, but I
yeah.
think there's other conspiracies. So like one's like Hitler didn't kill himself. Like he escaped to like Argentina under a different name
Hmm.
and didn't actually kill himself. It's like, how do you ever know that?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, do I think like it's possible? Like it could. That's what I mean. It's just really all about perspective, because I mean, even if you think about even those like news stories a few years back of like, oh, we like found this old Nazi who's like hiding out, and he's like 100 years old now, and it's like, oh, if he could do it, it's like
Hitler could do it
you
then.
could,
Yeah.
like, who else could?
Yeah.
And that's where I think perspective comes into play, is it's like how much of a probability and a possibility could it be?
Yeah. I don't know. And people, I mean, we're around election time. People have a lot of conspiracies about the elections that happen now. And those are kind of ones that I can see happening for either side.
Yeah, I mean, look at what happened with Palpatine. Like he tricked the Senate into thinking
Okay.
into
Okay.
transferring power, which
Yeah.
later in turn the Empire had started, which became a worldwide enforcer.
Yeah. Like 50 Cent, the enforcer.
Yeah, and a lot of people are have conspiracy theories that Jar Jar Binks was actually a Sith Lord or was under the influence.
Okay. Well, with that, we're going to move on to our next segment. So, this is the first segment that I want to bring in. It's called This or That. Basically, I'm going to see, do you agree with this or that? So, our topic today, the top 5 best TV shows that we've ever seen. Now, these are favorites.
Okay.
Anime does not count because it has to
Mm,
be separate. That's its own separate
okay.
list, right?
Okay. Yep.
You agree
Fair.
with that, right?
Yeah.
That's fair. So, no anime, your 5 favorite TV shows of all time, and we're going to see if people align more with my 5 favorite or your 5 favorite. And we're going to go one by one. So, I'll let you go first. And we can't repeat. The only
Mm.
deal. So, whichever ones you really like, I would say it first.
All right.
You have to see the series from start to finish. That's the only rule.
The series.
TV show. It's a
Okay.
TV show, yeah.
Um, Honestly, I'm just gonna kind of start from like what I remember as a child growing up, kind of like the order of how it was introduced.
Yeah.
So not necessarily like a tier ranking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Kirby. I loved watching Kirby.
Kirby?
Yeah,
Am I like drawing a blank on that? Like Pokemon Kirby? Kirby.
Kirby's not a Pokemon.
What is Kirby?
The pink guy.
Yeah.
He's on Super Smash.
Oh, okay. So he's more in the Nintendo verse.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was
Okay.
an actual show like
That's where I
dedicated
got.
to it.
Okay, so your
He is
first
not a
show is
Pokemon.
Kirby. I
He's
got
not
what
a
you meant. He's
Pokemon.
not a Pokemon. Obviously, I wasn't very in depth with that. The first show that I'm gonna bring up, it's probably my favorite all time, and the ending fell off, which kind of hates it.
Mm.
But I'm gonna go with Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay. So you're like starting with like stuff like now.
Yeah, so like it doesn't have to be now, but I think overall the first 4 or 5 seasons of Game of Thrones is the best TV I've ever seen in my life.
Mm.
The
I can't speak on
storytelling,
that
they're like
because I
right,
haven't
they're like
seen it
movies every episode.
except for that one scene with that girl with her shirt off.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if that was the right thing, but yeah. So that's what I'm gonna go with. If you haven't seen it, I'm gonna start with Game of Thrones.
Okay.
So you're up
Um,
now for the next one.
Honestly, you know what? I think a show that has like piqued my interest very recently, just kind of like how the way it's written, um, and it's like written in a way different perspective, and I think that's kind of what's intriguing. Which I found out this show was actually canceled. I don't know why. Um, I started getting into watching Lucifer.
Okay, I've heard Lucifer's
Yeah,
really good though. I've heard
I think it's
Lucifer's
a
really good.
very interesting show written in a way different perspective.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, oh, like, it's just something that's it's not ever like written in that perspective, and I think that's what kind of like captivated me
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't finished it yet, but I've been like
I'll
binge
let that one
watching it.
count because that is a good show from what I've heard. I've never seen it, so we both named shows that no one's seen yet.
Hmm.
But I think I'm gonna change that. My next favorite show, I'm gonna go with Vampire Diaries.
Mm. Okay.
I was very like put off to this show because like,
Oh, I know.
oh, it's a girly sounding show. I still
I
think
know
that
you
it
were.
doesn't have the correct name for it for what the show actually involves, but I guess there's not really a better name for it. But when I start watching it with Kaylee, it's a phenomenal show. Actually, I really like it.
Yeah, I think I remember trying to get you to watch it, and you were like, "I'm never gonna watch that."
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, and as soon as I started aligning with characters and stuff, it's like
Hmm.
I'm Team Stefan over Damon all day. Klaus should have ended up with spoilers. Klaus should have ended up with Caroline, I thought. And Elena, as annoying as she was, towards the end, it just wasn't the same. So that show kind of had an ending little fall off too.
Yeah.
But I overall really liked that show. Like it had a comfort level to it, or rewatchability to it, where I think maybe Game of Thrones, the rewatchability is good until you get to the last season, and it's not there anymore. But you haven't seen that, so it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that's what my two. I'm gonna go with Game of Thrones and Vampire Diaries.
Honestly, I'm gonna say a throwback.
Okay.
I think a lot of I think I can at least say there's quite a few people that think it's a good show. Sonic X.
Okay. So you're going with Sonic.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. I haven't seen that one either. So
really.
I mean, I know who Sonic is, obviously, but like, I don't think I've ever really sat down and watched the show with Doctor Eggman,
Yeah.
Jim Carrey.
Not that.
No. Yeah, so okay, so you're going with Sonic. My next one is going to be kind of a sleeper pick. It's not a super popular show.
hmm
Um, I'm going to go with My Name is Earl.
Hmm. I'm gonna be honest. I may have seen it, but I can't really put the title to
The show,
what I
okay.
think I've seen. Yeah.
So the show got canceled probably 15 years ago now, and it ended on a cliffhanger. So it's like it got canceled on a cliffhanger. But I've seen that show, rewatched it probably 3 or 4 times, and I just think that's such an underrated show. So my third, I'm gonna go with My Name is Earl. I think it's very funny.
I I'm gonna say one that probably everyone loves, and in my opinion, I'm not sure if it's anybody else's. Ended in a cliffhanger. Teen Titans.
So you're going a lot of the kid route
I
on
mean,
these.
hey,
It's a,
you can't beat them. I don't. I honestly, I think like a lot of the shows that they made, like when I was a kid and like growing up, it kind of reached like a pinnacle and then started to become like very like copy paste.
okay.
It's like, okay, I feel like I've seen a
Literal
thousand of
remakes
these.
of them.
Yeah.
Teen Titans
Yes.
Go to Teen Titans
Yeah,
and
and
stuff
it's
like that.
like and it's kind of sad to see these, and it's like, dude, this is they kind of just ruined it.
Yeah,
Like they just kind of drug it through the
yeah,
mud.
yeah. I could do a top 10. That's where I'm at. Like I'm just trying to think of so many that I've seen, and I want to put that next. Is what I'm thinking because it's like I've seen this show so many times. I've said this is my one of my favorite shows. So if we included anime, Naruto would be on here. That's all I gotta say. But we're not. Um, but next, I think just for how many times I've seen it, I'm gonna have to go with Family Guy. I've seen
Okay.
so many seasons and episodes of Family Guy. That was the show that I used to go to bed watching.
Right.
So like I've seen it plenty enough times. Like I would know which episodes were in which season and everything.
Oh,
But
whoa.
I thought Family Guy was one of the first shows I watched that like the humor actually seemed to be like real life humor, like stuff that me or you would joke and say could be on Family Guy,
Right.
and it actually made me like laugh, and it was funny stuff like the cutaways and everything like that. So at 4, I'm gonna go with Family Guy.
Um, I don't know if I can beat Family Guy.
There's another one for you that you've told me to watch that I would think.
Oh, to match Vampire Diaries.
Yep,
Yeah,
Vanderpump
which
Rules. Oh,
yeah,
don't
which
act like you
some would
weren't
argue
watching
is
that
based
show.
on my true life story.
Yeah.
That would be Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf. Yeah, you did love Teen Wolf,
Dude,
the
yeah,
show, not the movie.
yeah. When freshman year of high school, literally, like I would. I'm not even joking. Like I would hear some people talk about it. I'm like, dude, I'm not watching that because it was around the time where I think my sisters were like heavily invested into Vampire Diaries,
Yeah,
and of course, I had sisters. We only had like one like family room TV. Like we didn't have TVs in our rooms. So it's
yeah,
kind of like if you wanted to watch something, you would just kind of collectively
yeah,
watch it. So I would watch it with my sisters, kind of reluctantly to wait my turn.
yeah,
So when I heard about Teen Wolf at that time, I'm like, dude, I'm not watching that.
yeah, yeah.
It's gonna be the same thing. I think I convinced myself it was like a spinoff,
Mm.
and then much later, like a couple years ago, I watched it. And I'm like, actually, like this isn't even that bad.
Yeah.
And I thought it was
Then you
cool
got
how
hooked,
like
didn't
I
it?
kind of recognized some of the people. Like one of the characters in the show was actually featured in Advanced Warfare for Call of Duty.
Oh, okay.
Gideon.
Get in. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he's actually in the show, and I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, that's crazy. I like recognize that voice
Yeah.
immediately,
Yeah.
and I was like, dude, that's so crazy. That's wild.
Yeah. So at the 5 spot for me, I'm gonna go with a show called Raising Hope. I don't know if you ever seen that or not. I'm guessing no.
I've heard of Raising Cane's.
That's not even close to the same thing. But
Okay.
I don't even know if any people out there watching on the Raising Hope, to be honest. I think it's a super hilarious, funny show in the same universe as My Name is Earl, but that would be my 5.
You decide. Who had a better list, Raven or Poll?
So the last topic I wanted to bring up today, to talk about you specifically. So obviously, me and you have been making videos for a really long time,
Yeah.
and that's really the dream that I have, and I think that we share would be to make videos, and that would be our job. Like that would be so cool. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of people in the Family Ties group would love to. And I just want to ask you, like, there's going to be like a multi-part question, but the first question is going to be, what's your favorite video that we've ever shot?
Uh, I'm gonna be honest. I kind of like that video of you doing was it a Family Ties video or was it for Call of Duty where it was like introducing everyone?
Oh, no. I mean, our favorite video that we shot on your channel.
Oh,
Yeah,
like our
yeah,
okay, like
over
a
the years.
video
Yeah,
that we've
because
done.
just a backstory, real quick, before we get into it. I mean, it's kind of late in the video to start doing this introduction, but I've known him for 10 years now. We went through freshman level high school all the way through together, and we made videos 8, 9 years ago.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of history. We've traveled together. Like there's a lot. So he's made a lot of videos. I mean, he was the original creator of the videos and stuff, and I was doing different videos with like Matthew and stuff. But we had some great times doing that, and I want to kind of bring that back and start really focusing on that now that we can kind of do more things. So I want to get your answer on what's your favorite video we shot, because we have had a lot of funny ones. And I'll
yeah,
link his channel in the description so you can go check him out if you want. If you want to see 16-year-old Raven and Paul doing this.
yeah. No, the old resolution. Oh gosh. Um, Honestly, I'm gonna have to say, like, out of all of our different videos we've done, like both like published and like unpublished, kind of like for our own
Yeah.
entertainment. I think my favorite one is definitely the hot sauce video.
Okay, there's two of
Um,
them.
yeah, I think it the first one.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say I think the first one might edge out the second one for me, because I just remember how excited we were,
yeah,
because my grandma got like at Hobby Lobby or something. It's like a $20 pack of like hot sauces. Had a bunch of different ones, and I was like, "Yo!" Like I remember sending a picture to him and Leo at the time, and like, we got to try all these. I think Raven's like, "Let's make a video out of it."
yeah,
And he had the tripod set up, and that video was actually really funny.
yeah,
And I don't know, I just remember the feeling. Like I don't know, there's a lot less stress back then. Maybe it's just nostalgia, but like I just thought that was so funny, and the edits you put in were so hilarious. I remember when I first watched it, I was like crying laughing.
yeah.
What
I
makes that
think
your favorite?
I think one for me, especially like looking back, not only like just in the moment, is like looking back. It's like, sure, the resolution is bad. It's one camera that's stationary the entire time. The weird zoom
It's
ins
like you
at
shot a
odd resolution.
podcast, and
Yeah. Um. I think it's the like impurities that make it something special. It's
yeah,
like, hey, like this was fun to make. Like
yeah,
we just had fun in
we
the
had so
moment.
much
It was
fun.
like, hey, we really don't care how this looks.
Yeah,
We don't know what's gonna happen in the post. We're just gonna film this and just kind of go with the flow. Like we don't have anything planned.
we
Uh,
literally had
yeah,
nothing planned. There was no objective to it. It was just try
yeah,
these.
yeah. It's like, hey, let's just film this crazy moment, and I think that's what was fun. Was
Yeah,
like,
we had a
hey,
good
look, let's
run
just put
too.
no thought into this. Let's
Yeah,
just do it. and
Yeah.
then just kind of add in stuff later.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the edits and everything were so funny. You could tell the effort, and then it's
Yeah.
like, and then we did hot sauce challenge 2. Then we did the mint drink challenge, and we did I dare you and stuff like that. So it was just like a streak of just fun videos. I thought,
Yeah.
like, we were just having fun being teenagers and being annoying.
Yeah, and I think what was awesome and what was good about that video was that it was something that, you know, we didn't try and like act for or anything. We were just having fun, and like people saw that and they're like, "Hey, like I want to be part of this too."
Yeah,
And so it was like, over those videos, it's like, "Oh, like, hey, are you guys shooting another video? Like, can I be in it?"
yeah. Can I be in it? Or just like kind of how it is right now with the upload streaks and stuff we've been on. It's like I love having the fan base of people like, oh, I love watching your videos. Like, can you upload more and stuff like that? It just makes me actually want to upload stuff, and
Right.
it's actually fun. And the announcement that I was going to have for this video, hopefully my phone doesn't cut off, is Raven's been kind of behind the scenes for since the beginning of Family Ties a few months ago, but this is now his official announcement of joining as a content creator. So no longer just behind, and he's been doing design and everything like that, but he's now in the content scene with our group, and I think that it's just going to be a great addition because, like I said, look at his videos below; like they're hilarious and they're just fun.
Yeah. They're a lot of fun. Um, obviously now, we do want to make things look nice, but I think it has its own special place.
It does, yeah,
Was like, hey, this was just something crazy.
yeah,
Just hey, just film this.
yeah. Let's film this.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun. This is what we were going to do anyway, so let's just record it,
Yeah.
make it fun. So with that, I'm gonna say if this video, the podcast, gets 10 likes on it, we're gonna shoot another hot sauce challenge video. 10 likes in the first one in 10 years since we had that,
Yeah.
or 9 years, however long ago it was, and we will shoot another hot sauce challenge video for the first podcast episode if we get 10 likes on this. Are you down?
Yeah, I'm down.
I think that's a reasonable goal.
Yeah.
So check out the moments below for Raven's channel. I want to thank him for coming on today, coming over, using his time. Like I said, if it gets 10 likes, you could watch the videos and tell us if that's something that you want to see. Like and comment on the video. And if you made it to the very end of the video, let's start doing this. Comment one word in the comments to make sure that you watched the whole video. Comment which word would you like to pick?
Milk.
Comment milk, so that we know if you watched the whole video. And with that, I just want to thank Raven for coming on, and thank you for listening to our first episode of the podcast. And that's all I got.
Later, taters.
Later, taters.
If I